Hi again everyone, Dr. Tom McNamara here for our course in Prep for College Math. In this video I would like to discuss how we can use the associative and commutative properties of the operation of multiplication to help make some of our work easier. Alright, now just to make sure we're all on the same page, the commutative property of multiplication says that if I have two numbers A and B, I can multiply them in either order and get the same result. So for example, five times 3, we did this on the board in a previous example where we showed 5 copies of 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 for 15, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. If we were to visualize this in the exact same way, it would be 3 copies of 5. So 5 plus 10, 15. Okay? So either way, you get 15. So you can switch the order when you multiply. Very handy. The associative law for multiplication says that we can change grouping when we are multiplying. So, in this left-hand expression here, remember what the parentheses mean. The parentheses mean we're supposed to do that part first, okay? So I'm supposed to multiply these two numbers first, then multiply by A. Over here on the right, it says I'm supposed to multiply A and B first, then hit it with C. Okay, and the associative property of multiplication says I will get the same result either way. Quick example, if I do, let's say, 4 times 5 times 6, I should get the same thing if I did 4 times 5 and then times 6. Okay. So let's see. 5 times 6, 30. Okay. You've got to know your single digit multiplications to make progress in any college level math course. You've got to be able to do some of these multiplications in your head. Okay, so 5 times 6 is 30. 30 times 4 is 120. Okay, that's actually just a one-digit multiplication problem. It's not a two-digit multiplication problem, even though 30 is a two-digit number. Okay, because we have a base 10 place value system, multiplication with factors of 10 is really easy. You probably remember this from grade school. You multiply by 10, you just add a 0. Multiply by 100, add 2 zeros to the end of your number. Multiply by 1,000, you add 3 zeros. Okay, so if I'm doing 30 times 4, I just need to do 3 times 4, which is 12, and then tack on the 0, because that's what 30 times 4 is going to be. Okay, over here, let's see what I would get. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 6 is 120. Okay, so confirming that the associative rule for multiplication works. Okay, and the associative rule phrased this way is basically just saying it doesn't matter what these numbers are, this switching will work no matter what numbers you have. Okay, so the reason that these properties can be helpful is when we pair it up with our base 10 place value system. Okay, so let me look at a couple quick examples where making use of the associative and commutative properties can help us out. Okay, so 15 times 2 times 4. Okay, I mean, this isn't too bad either way. but I think it's a little easier if we do the 15 times 2 first, and then times 4. So this is 30 times 4, and as we saw, 120. Okay, remember the 0 doesn't really matter. We can basically ignore it for now. Just have to do 3 times 4, get 12, and then tack the 0 onto the end. Okay, let's do a couple more here. 29 times 2 times 50. Okay, so once again, I'm seeing 2 times 50. That's 100, okay? It's very easy to multiply by 100. So rather than doing 2 times 29, which would involve carrying, and then times 50, which would involve even more carrying, here's what we'll do. We'll do 29 times 100. The associative property says we can group these two first. Okay, so when you're looking at a multiplication problem, scan through that whole thing before you start. Don't just slog through in the way that you were given the problem. See if there's a way to make your work easier. In this case, we see the 2 and the 50. If I multiply those, I get 100, and it's very easy to multiply by 100, and 2900, 2,900. Okay, so let me see. Do I have enough space? Okay, let me erase these and do a couple more. Okay, so okay, here's a good one. 250 times 4 times 135. Okay, once again, we look through this whole thing. We notice, all right, the way it's written, it's telling me to do 4 times 135. I could do it, but there would be carrying. Okay, you want to avoid carrying whenever possible. And if you can bring in multiples of 10, 100, 1,000, anything like that, those numbers are very easy to multiply by. And we notice here that if we were to regroup this using the associative property, (250 times 4, 1,000). So 135,000, right? Very easy to multiply 135 by 1,000, right? It's just like multiplying by 100. If you're multiplying by 100, you tack on 2 zeros to the end. If you're multiplying by 1,000, you tack on 3 zeros to the end. Okay, so when you're doing multiplication problems, be on the lookout for this type of stuff. Okay, when we're talking about addition, we talked about compatible numbers. Well, we're looking for the same thing in multiplication. Okay, look for things that have 2's and 5's. Okay, 2's and 5's. Why are you looking for 2's and 5's? Well, 2 times 5 gives you 10. Easy to multiply by 10. 4 and 25. Look for 4's and 25's, because 4 times 25 is 100. Very easy to multiply by 100. So if you can bring that into the mix, it's really helpful. Okay. So, keep that in mind. The associative and commutative properties of multiplication, they can help you out in certain problems to make things easier. So be on the lookout to use those and save yourself some work. And of course, always remember that when you're multiplying, 10 is your friend. Multiplying by 10 is easy. You just write the other number, tack on a 0. Multiplying by 100, just as easy. Multiplying by 1,000. So anytime you can bring 10, 100, or 1,000 into the mix, you've made the problem easier and less chance of making a mistake.